if you don't care about the environment, but you do care about your penis, you may want to pay attention. Pollution is shrinking the penises, well, the penis bones, in otters. Researchers having it determined if it's an endocrine disrupting chemical to blame. They have different reproductive systems than we do. But EDCs can lead to human babies with undescended testicles, sex organ deformities, and low sperm count.
I just want to read the first sentence of this article by Leslie Horn of Gizmodo.com. The title is "Pollution Might Shrink Your Penis, say otters." And the first sentence she writes, "Otter dicks are shrinking thanks to pollution, and you should definitely freak out because the trend might affect humans too." Are you freaking out, JR?
I'm not. I'm older.
Well, okay.
I think I beat,
you guys as
the
grown
system.
men are not in danger
That was my first
of pollution
question. Yeah.
harming your genitals,
My
but
first,
your children are.
my first question to Kim when she brought this article to me was, does it affect people who are already born would my penis shrink because of pollution, or does it only impact unborn people who will be born with smaller penises? And the answer is the latter, so I don't care.
I mean, it doesn't matter, Steve. You have 3 kids. You have no use for anything
You have
anymore.
daughters.
In fact, I have 3 daughters, so it is in my interest for all boys to have small penises. So I'm all for pollution.
So do you think, so from Jesus' kid to mine, do you think ours just escaped the pollution level?
No,
Maybe it's gonna get worse.
I think you and Jesus, you're gonna have sons with small penises. Sorry.
Whoa.
It's all the
Whoa.
pollution.
What kind of an insult is that?
No, it's not an insult. It's just a situation. We live in LA. We have bad air here.
Many filthy
you
things
guys
in-
should have had your kids up in Seattle or something.
Yeah, it's a reason to move in other areas. I mean, but there's nothing to do there. There's no women. I'm not talking Seattle. I'm talking in the middle of nowhere where
Yeah.
it's probably some clean air. Seattle's a lovely city. I've never been there.
Well,
I'd
have
like
the
to go.
kid in some really clean area, like in the Yukon or somewhere, and then come back. See?
Come back and dominate.
All right, well, the connection does require further investigation, but the study did note that the humans and the animals are exposed to the same amount of those chemicals, the EDCs.
I mean, maybe we'll go with the other obvious. I mean, all the pollution in the air, you're gonna die of something else before you really get
Would
a
you
chance.
like to die of a small penis? Just like not being able to reproduce and having your line
Or just-
die out? I don't know.
Whatever cloudy debris gets into your lungs and creates the 18 different kinds of cancer that we all deal with. I mean, that's where we worry about that part.
Yeah, actually, this is something that Dave Kohler and I have been talking about for a long time. Some of our friends, they love talking about global warming, and they used to talk about this for, way back when Al Gore first started talking about it. And we used to say, why don't you stop talking about global warming and talk more about pollution? Because pollution is very direct and obvious and visible, whereas when you talk about global warming, it sounds pleasant. It's warming, and it's very
It does sound
tangential,
kinda nice.
and it's far.
Yeah.
it's far away. The results
Tropical.
are hard to quantify or see readily. But if you say, look, stop polluting the environment, because we have acid rain, we have shrinking penises, we have lung diseases. It's very tangible, I think, and it might have been a better way to combat global warming by focusing on pollution. It's a marketing.
Okay,
it's a
before
marketing
we
scheme.
we've done stories where we talked about coffee might go extinct because of global warming and pollution. No one really paid attention. Bacon, we might run out of bacon because the pigs won't have anything to eat because of global warming and pollution. Didn't work. Now are you listening? Your penises, listen.
Yeah.
Well, are the women
it has to
gonna care?
affect our penises today, not like our
You don't
future
care about
unborn
future
penises.
generations?
Yeah.
You don't care
You
about
care
the
about what you
human race?
passed on
Not
to
as
your
much.
sons
Yeah.
about the future.
Yeah.
That's the line.
Well, apparently we don't care because we keep polluting, we keep raping the environment, so we don't care.
Well, I don't have
So you
children
know what
yet, but I
sucks
care
though?
about
What
them.
if you live in Los Angeles as we do, and as you guys already found out, or you guys have made fun of me for, I'm a rabid environmentalist. I love Mother Earth. I have those recyclable bags, 4 of them in each car. No, 7 in each car. And so, and they made fun of me for using them. There's one in my drawer right now. But I mean, it sucks if the rest of the city, or you're in a city where it's so big where it doesn't matter. It matters for me, but the pollution is still rampant in the city. It's
It
horrible.
doesn't mean don't try.
And no, and I'm gonna say not to, but then it kind
I
of sucks
know.
that you're doing all this, but then you're in such a
JR
collection of.
JR is right, though. I mean, all these little individual efforts that we're doing.
It's great. It helps.
It's not that great. I mean,
But-
it makes you feel better. It makes you feel like you're doing something, but we really need something systemic. We don't have that. The other thing too is that you can pretend to be an environmentalist all you want, but if you actually eat meat, which I do because I love meat, there's no way you can be an environmentalist if you're eating meat because
giving it up.
Yeah, because there's no.
Vegetarian
I don't
starting
believe
today.
you. I don't believe you.
Giving it up.
No way. You're so full
I've
of
seen
it.
the sandwiches
There's
you make.
no
You're not
way.
doing that.
There's not that much meat on the sandwich. It's a lot of lettuce.
There's no way you can give up meat.
It's a lot of vegetables.
Yeah. So I mean, I heard that if you drive a Prius but you're a meat eater, it doesn't do any good. Like all the carbons that you're saving by driving the Prius, you're
That
creating.
doesn't mean like still don't take those steps. Just throw in the towel. You
I-
know, fuck the environment. I want my meat.
Prius driver.
I hear you, and you're right. And we should all do what we can. But my point is, all of us doing what we can isn't going to help without a systemic effort by organizations, companies, governments, and everyone together.
Could that could that change the
Look,
vast majority of people's minds?
You know what? I do crazy things. Okay, I actually, maybe this is TMI, but you know, in my house, I go when I have to go to the bathroom. Number one, a lot of times I go outside in my yard because I have a big yard and there's like trees. So I'm like, why flush a toilet and waste a gallon of water? So I'm trying to save a gallon of water.
Has anyone ever spotted you?
No, where I live up in the hills, so you cannot see me. So
That's what you think.
unless there's a helicopter above me, but.
Drones.
We're
Well,
gonna
what's
send a drone.
But there's really no point because the amount of water consumed by just one factory, by the Budweiser factory out in the valley. I mean, I would have to save. I would have to stop peeing for. Stop using toilets for like 150 years.
You're gonna have to convert your number twos to outside too.
No, I would have to stop using toilets for like 150 years to impact the amount of water they use in like one day.
Then you're gonna have to
It
get a
doesn't
dog
matter.
so that you can blame it on the dog when your wife finds it and steps in it.
Does your wife know you're doing this?
It's a don't ask, don't tell policy. Nobody wants to know that.